Going live. Going live.
Look, I see live already.
I just want to say that I am such a huge fan of the Atheist Experience because that was one of the shows that I watched that kind of like helped me to, find my way to atheism. So I'm like, I feel like I'm talking to a celebrity.
Give me a second. Yeah. Give me a second, guys, because it's already in.
Hello, audience.
Right.
For those who don't know, India is going to be famous one day.
Yeah, famous for what? My looks.
Okay. Well, not that many people are successful cartoons.
No, if I showed you what guys look like, my hair is like an afro because I don't have my hair back.
I used to get upset with girls that always wanted to make sure their hair was absolutely perfect all the time, and I really couldn't care less. I remember I got involved with this Egyptian girl that had a mountain of untamed hair that always looked like she had just crawled out of a romantic liaison.
Nice way of putting it.
Her hair was amazing. It was always a mess, but it was always a mess in just the right way.
All right. I'm going to cut in here, guys, because I'm going to do my intro and introduce everybody, and also explain that I'm out of room. So if you did not get a link, we're going to have some people jump in and out of here, so others will be able to join at some point.
Yeah.
So basically, we have with us so far, of course, Aron, my guest of the day, myself, and Insects Are Cool is with us, or Adriana, as you guys know her. We've got the Milzabub, who's also got a great channel. You should go sub to him, check it out right now. We've got the Lavender Lady, one of my favorite people on the planet because she's awesome. We've got India, who just started her own channel, or will be, India's Vlogs, and talking about her deconversion with other people that have also deconverted, which I think is kind of a cool idea. We've got No Sacred Cows. We've got Purple Rhymes with Orange. We've got Randolph Richardson, who's a partner in crime with me, who will be starting up our own call-in show called True North Talks. And we've also got the Tatted Atheist, a member of the Geek Room. And if you guys haven't seen their channel, you should, because it's fantastic. And they're actually bugging me to come on their show now because now that Aron's been on my show, I'm famous now. So now, guys, let's maintain a modicum of control here, okay? One person can speak at a time, and Aron can answer any of your questions. And I'll just sit idly by. I'll sit idly by and drink. No, this isn't movie night. We're not watching anything unless we consider watching me drink as a movie. Then
I got a question off the top of my head.
Sure.
Purple rhymes with orange.
This is a great fight.
I owe that to my companion. During gaming days, she kept saying nothing rhymes with purple and nothing rhymes with orange, therefore they rhyme with each other.
Or silver.
Hey, at least purple rhymes with orange is easy to spell. Try spelling B. Milzabub correctly. Actually impress me. Pronounce it correctly. I chose poorly with my name, I guess.
Okay, well that's my favorite name that I've heard for a channel so far is Purple Rhymes with Orange.
Purple's a big sweetie.
Now, what was the other girl's name? Insects Are Awesome.
Insects Are Cool.
Insects Are Cool.
Insects Are Cool. I've seen your tweets. I know that I have.
Cool. Yeah, I take girl a little bit when you say that.
Adriana's amazing, man. She answers anyone's insect cool.
Thank you. I'm actually in Oklahoma, so I'm kind of like next door to you.
Oh yeah, it's just 1,000 miles.
I probably get to Texas in like 3 hours, I think. A 3-hour drive, I think.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah. I probably go to pick this for him next year. Just like right next door.
Yeah, I've had to make a couple of runs up to Oklahoma City. As I remember, it takes about 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
And Aron, I don't know if you remember me or not. I used to work with Dr. Michael Jones on NCG Studios. You were on the show a couple of times when I was there.
Did we meet?
Yes.
In person?
Not in person. No, over the air. We did meet.
I did have the pleasure of coming to his studio once upon a time.
Yes, I remember you showing up there. And what's amazing is that I discovered him through you. Yeah. When I was looking for videos of yours, and you had appeared several times on his show. I don't know if the one I saw first was Is Church Harmful, or if that was Silverman. But several times you were there, and it's like, hey, this is interesting. I'll keep coming in. And
you know, now that you bring him up, it reminds me of something. I mean, I had gotten a request, I want to say a month or so ago, of would I debate Dr. Michael Jones? I think the topic was, is Christianity harmful? And normally I would be apprehensive about about the subject of the debate, but it was Michael Jones.
Yeah.
And so I don't have apprehension with him, but I haven't heard another word about it. And in fact, I haven't heard from him in a good while.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am no longer with the show. We had a kind of a difference of opinion about a year ago, and I thought it best that I leave because from the side chat, things were getting a little contentious, and they were all people that I knew. Yeah, and it was, okay, if I'm going to be that much of a distraction, maybe I should take off. But it was a good year and a half. It was a nice year and a half that I worked with him and Bob and Daryl. I don't regret it at all. One thing I'm curious about, though, Aron, are you planning on showing up in Kentucky in July, or do you have other things to do?
Oh, yes, I am going to be in Kentucky.
Okay.
I'm going to be at the ARC thing.
Okay, so Orange and I might well be able to meet you in person at that point. And one thing I'm wondering, Neil, I hope you don't mind my spamming the show. I did send you a note earlier, Aron. If you could see your way clear, if you've got the room in your schedule, would you mind coming on my channel to talk the show up?
Absolutely. No question. Email me, because that's the only way I can keep track of things, because I can search on them.
Okay.
I can identify things in email. I can set them to like not read from here, and then I can scroll through and and find it in bold, so to speak. So that's, unfortunately, when I get things in Facebook, it's easy to lose.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Aron.
Is your email generally available on your website?
It's not really complicated. It's my name and Gmail.
Oh, fine. Perfect. Yay. Danke schön.
And
okay.
India, you were saying something?
India was breaking.
Yes. Have you? I watched. It was like the other day or something, and it was on the Atheist Experience, and you were. I don't remember his exact name, but the caller was from Japan. And
Mr. ID.
Yes.
You were going all beast.
What a
You were getting all beast mode. I'm like, oh my gosh. I just like this. Aron must be losing brain cells with this guy.
What I love about Mr. ID, I'll just be as positive as I possibly can be, is that Mr. Intelligent Design had a debate with Kent Hovind. And I don't know how the hell that happened, but it gives me no end of amusement, because Mr. Intelligent Design is absolutely maddening to talk to.
Yes. I'm thinking, how could one tell which one was more maddening? Would it be?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be yes?
You put those two together, that's going to be... That's hilarious. So I suggested when I was on the non sequitur show, and I had they called it a debate with Jeranism, who's a flat Earth.
I was about to bring it up.
Oh, good Lord! I watched that, dude.
And we've taken him on a movie night several times. Yes.
And then I had the fracas or confrontation or whatever the fuck you want to call it with Kent Hovind, and I thought this would be absolutely brilliant. Have Kent Hovind debate Jeranism. I think that'd be the funniest fucking thing ever, because Kent Hovind would have to use science, actual science, legitimate science, for the first time in his life.
Right.
Yeah, but don't do this to me while I've got a mouthful of coffee.
And Jeranism.
I'm going to take another sip, so be careful.
Okay. But unfortunately, Hovind will not succumb to that.
Oh man. Okay, so Hovind's refusing quite a few. He's definitely not going to show up to debate R.J. Downard again.
I don't know who that is. I missed that, I guess.
I wasn't
R.J. Downard is he's an evolutionary biologist, correct? Or paleontologist?
A little bit.
And he works with Jackson Wheat quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you meet Jackson Wheat?
Yes,
Neil?
I hung out with him for a bit. Yeah, absolutely.
Gave
him a big
it's
hug.
funny. He introduced himself to me and, "Hi, my name is Jackson." And it didn't make a click until I looked at his name tag.
Yeah.
And when I saw Jackson Wheat together, I'm like, "You're that guy."
Yeah, he did the same at the hotel when he showed up. He showed up about 5 minutes after I did, and he waves at me, and I'm like, "Wait, do I know you?" And I walked over and I went, "Holy fuck, it's Jackson!" And I gave him a big hug. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who I think Aron should talk to? Well, debate on the 8th Experience.
He's not on the Atheist Experience all the time.
Oh, no,
yeah, I've only been on the Atheist Experience about 4 times, and
debate in general, but
and if I'm going to have to be pedantic, and I do apologize, but my name is Registered Nurse RN.
Aron, yeah.
Aron. Oh, sorry.
Quite all right. Matt Powell accepted my challenge to have a discussion face to face months ago, and he promised that he would set up a venue here in my hometown where we would be able to do that on video, and I never heard another word from him.
Shocking.
Because him and was it Raging Atheist? Those two. I mean, oh my gosh, it's like there's been ongoing debate between those two, and Matt Powell said and lies. It's just ridiculous.
Well, Matt Powell has. I got to give him credit. He's got a lot that he has to deal with right now. I mean, how he deals with being so desperately homophobic yet homosexual at the same time.
Yeah, I'm one of the people he wants to see dead.
I mean, at some point, he's just going to have to wipe his chin and fess up.
Yeah. Aron, before we continue here, I just want to sort of, I guess, reintroduce you to Randolph, because he was your driver when you were here. This is the guy that I was talking about.
Yeah, please, Randolph. Who is Randolph?
I'm right here.
You're Randolph. Okay, I apologize. When he said somebody was driving me around British Columbia, Vancouver, all I could remember was somebody taking me out to the Left of the Valley show.
That wasn't me.
That was not you.
No. You had come to meet with the BC Humanists, and I gave you and your wife a ride back to the hotel just the day before you took the plane home, and you gave me some beer because you couldn't take it across the border. So I gave it to my dad, and he's very appreciative of it because he said it was a high quality beer. So he just wanted me to pass on his thanks.
Well, thank you. When I die,
I was driving a Suburban.
Somebody's going to say, "Always had good beer."
Yeah, that'll be your epitaph.
But I don't.
Yeah, you should put that on the headstone.
I remember we're driving along on Oak Street here, and you were kind of surprised that there were some parked cars in the right-hand lane. I'm trying to ring a bell for you here. But
I think Randolph explained it to me that you were kind of irate about there being parked cars on the side of the road. So
Yes.
I wish I could remember this. The only thing I could remember being irate about was that the last time I was in BCV, it was like 11:59 or thereabouts. I think it's midnight, and I'm standing outside my hotel room, looking at a slate black sky with no clouds in it and nothing going on. And I'm mad that I've tried so many times to see the Northern Lights. And I went into my hotel room, and that a minute later, I found out later, the Northern Lights appeared in full display with red and everything. But of course, it's midnight. Nobody calls me in my hotel room to wake me up to have me look outside. I'm not even asleep. I've just walked in I'm I don't know. I'm just sitting there looking at probably browsing on Facebook, not aware that the situation outside my window has completely changed from what it was 2 minutes ago.
Wait. This was in Vancouver?
Yep. The Northern Lights have followed me in the most annoying way.
Yeah, but we generally don't get the Northern Lights as far south.
That's what I was thinking.
I realize that, but I went to a conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I left Tulsa, Oklahoma to come back to Dallas. And the next day, they sent me a text message. Look what's happening in Tulsa right now. And my wife made me grab the kids, throw them in the car, jump on the highway at 100 miles an hour across the entire state. I'm not even kidding. I did 100 miles an hour the whole way through the state to see the Northern Lights, which of course were gone by the time we got there.
They appear more often during a magnetic storm.
Yeah,
right.
Granted, but we keep getting teased by them.
You know what it is? Mother Nature is just yanking your chain.
So
you know what I think? I think it's time God.
It's God.
Guys, one at a time.
So I go to Iceland. I rent a cabin out in the middle. And by the way, I recommend this for anybody that even considers doing anything remotely like this.
I go there.
This was such a great thing that I did. I'm so glad I did it. I rented a cabin out in the middle of the fucking tundra, hours east of Reykjavik, and it's right in the heart of the Golden Circle. So if you ever want, the Golden Circle is like all the touristy things that you would ever want to see in Iceland. Mm-hmm. I rented this cabin in the middle of that, equidistant from all the things. And it's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And there's just something amazing about being in the middle of nothing. It's the Icelandic tundra, you know? I mean, this is amazing. Wow. I loved it. And all we had, it was a nice, comfortable cottage. Anybody that wants to go, seriously, I'll give you the link for the exact cabin that I rented so that you can experiment. It was wonderful, and it was comfortable, and it was great. But it had a hot tub on the front porch at 40 degrees Celsius. And I would just sit there with all my Icelandic liqueur and just lounge in this hot tub in the middle of absolutely nowhere, naked, freezing. There's snow everywhere, and I'm just like in the hot tub with my fucking Norwegian liqueur or whatever, staring at the sky, waiting for the colors to change, or trying to drink to the point that they do anyway.
It's something else you've got to be drinking for that.
And I remember that the sun would come up somewhere around 10:45 in the morning, and it would go down somewhere around 3:30 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Something like that. It's just it crazy stupid. And so like the whole rest of the time is nighttime. But it really was a beautiful experience. I went in May also, where the sun kind of goes down, but not entirely. The sun would disappear under the horizon so that you can't see it anymore, but the sky stayed blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still had the twilight going. Yes.
Yeah. So I've been there twice. I did it both ways. And I enjoyed the hell out of it both ways. I got to be honest with you. So if anybody's going to go to Iceland, it's my favorite place. I'll give you the link to the exact cabin that I stayed in. It's nice. But
I remember as a youth, I wanted to date Bjork. If that means anything.
Me too.
Yeah, you're right.
So I left Reykjavik. I remember I was in I left Reykjavik and I went to Belfast, and my wife and I toured the northern coast of Northern Ireland, and that again is another beautiful experience. I remember driving by a big empty field and recognizing a big empty field. And I'm thinking, where have I seen this? Game of Thrones.
No spoilers, all right? Some people haven't.
There was a battle here. Castle Greyjoy. I've been there. You remember the rope bridge?
You've been to Pike?
You remember the rope bridge where what's his name? Aron threw his father off the side. I've been on that bridge. That bridge is real. And I've been, and it is every bit as terrifying as you see in the movie, because it's at least 100 meters above crashing surf on jagged rocks, and the bridge really is swinging back and forth in the wind all the time, and you will get really queasy about trying to cross this fucking bridge. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I've actually been in Castle Greyjoy, and I love it. It was my favorite castle, because that place is fucking weird. But it's when I was in Belfast, my friends in Reykjavik send me this text message. Look what happened right after you left, and it's the Northern Lights. That I just spent 3 nights looking for the Northern Lights, and nothing happened, right? And then my daughter coincidentally lands in Reykjavik the same night, and I'm in Belfast, and I was really upset that I couldn't meet my daughter. You know, how cool is it to run into your daughter in a foreign country and go have a beer together? But we weren't able to do that. And so she lands in Reykjavik, and upon landing, she sends me a text message, says the Northern Lights are spectacular.
No shit, just to rub it in.
And you're saying,
like, bitch.
You've been disowned.
So then I go from Belfast. We rented a car, and we drove to Dublin. And I love Belfast. I love Dublin. I'm really happy of all the places that I've been in, especially weirdly enough, I really love
Dublin's great. Belfast is great. I've been there as well.
Yeah, and I never would have thought about going to Belfast, but the people that I met there are absolutely adorable. I really love the friends that I've made there. If I don't see them again in the rest of my life, I'm going to be really remiss. There has to be an excuse to go get drunk with them again, because that was great. But as soon as I drive into Dublin, which again I love, and there are people there that I really enjoy. As soon as I get there, I get a text message from Belfast, the place I just left. They've got the Northern Lights.
Oh.
So we do this thing in Australia.
Nature.
We do this thing in Australia where we hit Auckland, New Zealand, and then we do Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Perth. Now we wanted to do Hobart, Tasmania, but logistically we couldn't squeeze Hobart into the plan, and I was upset about that. So I'm standing on the beach in Melbourne, Australia, which, by the way, is an absolutely gorgeous city. If you've never seen it, it's so fucking beautiful. I love Melbourne to death. I'm standing on the beach in Melbourne, and somebody sends me a text message from Hobart. Hey, look what's going on here. And yes, you can guess.
Of course.
With the Aurora Australis.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pissed because I'm standing on the beach. I'm like, it's just 200 miles that way. So I'm obviously never, one of two things. I'm either never going to see the Northern Lights, or the night that I do, I will die of satisfaction.
There you are.
You're going to have to go to either Whitehorse or, I think Whitehorse.
Well, I don't know. Will they let you aboard? Will they let you aboard the ISS?
I did a conference in Fargo, North Dakota, and there was some sort of solar storm at that night, and so somebody volunteered to drive me to the Canadian border. And again, just a slate black sky. Didn't get to see anything. I feel so cheated. But I mean, we've tried so hard to see this thing.
Go to Whitehorse.
When it happens, that's it. I'm done.
Aron, the Northern Lights are a myth. It's a huge conspiracy we're all holding against you.
It's
like gravity in the globe Earth.
It's Norse mythology. That's the Rainbow Bridge.
Yes. That's right. All right, guys. I'm gonna pipe in here for a minute. There's other people that want to jump in, so if anyone wouldn't mind switching out for somebody else, I can send a couple of links to other people.
Well, if you can just give me a minute to gush here, then I'm willing to step out. No, but Aron, I
enough.
just wanted to say that, you know, in the last 2 years, I have learned so much from you. You know, not just the atheism and religion, but, you know, your series on all the different things that disprove Noah's Ark, and the I'm blanking the word, the Phylogeny Project.
Phylogeny Explorer Project. Yes, thank you. That's a real thing now, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's incredible the information you've put out there, and I just wanted to thank you so much for all of that. And you've been a big part in me helping convince a couple of friends, you know, of some things, of just, you know, showing them the science that I couldn't really explain myself.
Well, I much appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, well, with that said, I'll step out so someone else can get in here.
Thanks,
Yeah, I can drop as well. And thanks for the opportunity to talk with you, Aron. And with any degree of luck, I might be able to see you in July, as well as Purple. Purple and I are planning to go to the protest. So I hope that we can meet you up there and just go from there.
We'll have great fun.
Yay, I certainly hope so. And
I can actually vouch for that.
I'll get an email message together presently, and then we'll just go from there. Thanks a lot, guys. You take care. Or as I say on my show, thanks a lot, troops. See you on the other side.
I actually have a funny story. Well, I don't know if you guys might find it funny. I don't know, but I do. Well, there's kind of like a theme park, it's like a couple of hours or so away from where I live, and it's called Storyland. So, you know, they have, you know, stories about the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and, you know, all the other different characters, Mother Goose. And but when you walk, you know, further into the park, they have this section with this huge cross and a display of a, you know, a fake church. I don't know what the heck that has to do with the Goldilocks and the Three Bears and all the other stories.
Well, that was when Goldilocks was crucified.
I was like, I never understood why they had it there, because I'm like, that has nothing to do with what this park is about.
Well, stories.
I'm at a loss.
Huh?
I'm at a loss.
Yeah. I'm just like, I never understood it. That is, I don't know. Maybe the park owners are Christian. I don't know. But if they're not, then maybe someone complained that there wasn't a cross there. I'm surprised they didn't have a showing.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done so. I wouldn't have done anything as grotesque as crucifying Goldilocks. The Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing to me should have always ended with a dismembered little blonde girl.
Or at least partially consumed.
And three well-fed bears.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it's Storyland Park, right? Isn't that the name you said?
Well, yeah, but it's not.
I mean, in the Bible's a story, so.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
it does kind of fit.
Kind of, but I mean, when you got the theme park is revolved around Goldilocks and Mother Goose and different child stories, I just. I don't know.
This is honest truth, and maybe it's because I grew up in the 70s, or maybe because, you know, a lot of these things were created in the 70s, but this was a precursor to what we now know as Rule 34. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Rule 34.
I'm not.
I would hope.
Yeah. Every one of those old childhood fairy tales has been turned into a musical porn movie.
If it can be porn.
What? Okay, did I hear that right?
Yeah. If it can be porn, it will be porn.
Oh my god!
And most of them are encapsulated into a single movie, and I remember most of the lines for a lot of the lyrics.
we have just interrupt briefly. We have a new member that has joined us. My very good friend, another British guy from across the pond, the Bad-Tempered Badger, has joined us. Say hello, Badger. Come on, before you fall asleep.
My microphone's working.
Hi.
Yes, it is.
Hey. Well, I just wanted to say I'm a massive fan and hello.
Armand,
Don't we sound posh?
Sorry, Neil. Neil, can I say something real quick?
Absolutely.
Bible Belt Atheist is asking for a link.
Yes, but I told him that we're rotating, as I've told everyone that we're rotating. So if anyone else wants to drop out, we'll have someone else join us as soon as I possibly can.
Okay.
Mind Snake is also joining. Wait a second here. Hold on. Before anyone continues. Mind Snake, you realize that your camera's on, correct? Pine Snake, Ian.
Oh, hi.
Ian Harrison.
Yeah.
That's Pine Snake. You.
That was a lovely hat, Pine Snake.
Look at him. I didn't realize you were so cute, buddy.
Oh, shucks. You're making me blush.
Do I say bromance?
Yeah, of course it is.
That's always already
I live closer.
And I'm sorry, Aron, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, it's all right.
I got to get a handle on this shit. These guys are crazy sometimes.
One of the first things I think I remember asking.
Just lead by your example.
One of the first things I asked Neil was, "What do you ride?"
He doesn't. He's a pussy. He doesn't ride bugger all.
I used to. I haven't in many, many years. And the funny thing is, like, I've never had. Yeah, shut it. I've never had a license to ride. I just rode anyways. So.
Okay. Well, it's a funny thing. I didn't get a license to ride a motorcycle until I was 40.
So I will be sending you to Australia next.
Yeah, I've had a dozen motorcycles in my lifetime, but
we'll be sending you to Australia with other convicts.
I don't really have a regular driver's license. It's because I don't really feel comfortable driving since I'm partially blind.
What do you ride, Aron?
I have a 2003 1500cc Victory Vegas.
A Victory, or at least it's not a Harley.
Yeah, it's not a Harley, but I love this bike. It's the best built motorcycle I've ever owned. I've had Harley, Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, Triumph, and
what did you have in the way of a Triumph? What did you have as a Triumph?
The problem is that none of them run.
Oh, I don't know. My Triumph runs great.
Yeah, I was told that if I got a Harley, that I would know the mechanics on a first name basis. Well, when I bought a Honda, I knew all the mechanics on a first name basis, and finally, after I replaced every part from the back to the front of this thing, and when the engine when the head gasket went, well, yeah, I'm fucking done replacing every damn part of this bike.
Was it even the same bike that you bought at that point?
Not really, no.
You've purchased the entire thing again.
Basically. I'm just
Whoa. What the hell happened here, guys?
What happened there?
Pine Snake, what are you doing?
I'm going to be heading out, you guys.
Bye, India.
Bye. It was nice chatting with you all.
Pine Snake, fix the problem.
Aron.
I'm not sure how that happened.
I'm having a problem to begin with. You got it.
Oh, are you having a problem with your mic? Because you accidentally muted Aron.
You just get in here, Pine Snake, and you break the whole thing.
And then,
no, to be honest with you, I'm only hearing Badger and Neil.
Oh, that's because we're the loudest.
I don't think I have a single picture of my old bike, but I had an XS 650 Yamaha flat track racer that I took into a chop shop. I mean, I took it into a community college and I chopped it myself. I cut the frame and welded it back together wrong. So that I kicked out the front. I lowered the seat a whole bunch. I had to take a sawzall to cut off the triple stand because it was so low to the ground. It had this much clearance off the street, and I'm not kidding. And I fabricated parts from a bunch of different things on a bike that didn't belong there. So I put a Harley Sportster tank on the front, and I put a big twin cap on the Sportster tank. I had to fabricate all the pieces to make them fit. And I had the sissy bar that supported the wide glide king and queen seat was actually taken from a Schwinn bicycle from the 1970s, and I welded it onto the frame.
Oh, that's got no support whatsoever. Now,
So what make and model does the insurance company think it is?
I cut the big musket mufflers off that were original, and I replaced them with Volkswagen Beetle mufflers and a plumber's pipe fitting with JB Weld. And I did a lot also. I had my tail light came off of a moped. I had bullet lamps that I bought in Hilo Auto Supply and stuck them in the axle. This bike was
some kind of post-apocalyptic.
I was very much into the Road Warrior, yes.
I was thinking you were going to be some kind of Mad Max thing going on there.
It was very much like that, and I really loved this bike. There was only one teeny little problem with it, which was that I didn't understand wiring or fuses.
Did it have a flamethrower that wasn't deliberate?
My problem was that I couldn't ride it more than 10 minutes without it catching fire.
So it did.
God.
You're running Kawasaki electronics by the sound of it.
It really did catch fire over and over again. But it sounded great, and it was fun to ride.
Outstanding.
That's
and
funny.
the sad thing is I don't have a single picture of it. Well, I have a picture of it, but it's not. There's not one online. And it wasn't even a finished product. It was while I was still building it. So at some point, while I had it in pieces and I'm barely putting it together, I had my daughter sit on it, and I got a single snapshot with that. And you can tell what complete white trash I am because I took that picture out in the front yard of the trailer we lived in. And you'll notice this if you ever see the picture, that we have the single wide trailer, and our picnic table out front was actually a cable spool.
That's one of your earlier videos. You had you were on your bike with I think it was your son or whatever. Back in the dialect day.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember those early videos because I do recall you showing your bike back then. You're on your bike.
Yeah, I bought my son a 1976 77 Harley Davidson Sportster, and I can't remember how much I paid for this bike, but it needed a lot of work. But I mean, this is a starter bike.
Yeah,
and it was good to have a Sportster. I bought extended pegs for the extended foot controls, and started trying to put those on, and then I ran into issue after issue. So I ended up giving that bike to a friend of mine who lives in Phoenix, and he's been trying to put it together ever since, but he builds bikes for a living, and that's never been his top priority.
Yeah.
So I told him that American Atheist National Convention is going to be in Phoenix in 2020, and he better have a bike to ride when I get up there. He's a professional motorcycle mechanic, so I'm sure he's got a collection of bikes he can choose from.
Oh, I'm sure.
Think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny that he usually ends up with Sportsters.
Oh, those are crap.
But the thing is, he's 6'3", and he just looks ridiculous on a Sportster.
I've never really understood that whole cruiser mentality thing. I can't get on them. I cannot ride a cruiser. You'll never see me on a cruiser. A sport touring bike, yes, but a cruiser, never.
At least I'm comfortable for the long haul. I'm not
like
fucking
hell
plastic.
Like no, we're talking about sport touring, not a sport bike. Those things are a backbreaker. I own one.
Okay, so we're not talking about something where the pegs are at the rear tire?
No, we're not. We're talking about a bike that is comfortable for long distance touring and still has enough oomph and throwability or to hit the twisties and be a hooligan.
Okay, my bike is a 1500. It will do 150 miles an hour. We've tested that to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I have ridden it to the Grand Canyon and back.
Nice.
I rode it.
Grab more beer.
Yeah, I rode it to when American Atheist was holding their convention in Memphis. I drove it from Dallas to Memphis at 100 miles an hour the entire way.
I had Kawasaki GPZ that when I first bought it. It was 1100. It was a used bike, and I was traveling down the highway, and I'm overtaking cars. I'm just do-do-do-do-do. I looked down at my speedometer. Oh, 180. 180 kilometers an hour in a 90 zone.
Okay.
Rock solid.
Yeah. So I'm coming home from a party, and I'm doing about 80 miles an hour.
Yep.
In a 35.
Yep.
And a pickup truck pulls out broadside in front of me out of a parking lot. And so I have to lay down on the front brakes as much as I can, and which causes the handlebars to do this crazy thing.
Yeah, you should kiss your ass goodnight.
Suddenly the bike is laying on its side, and I'm sitting on top of it.
And they're done that.
As it spins down the road.
And you think, oh God, I will never do this again. I'll never ride again.
Yeah, that was a crazy night, because in the same night, I went to a costume party all the way on the other side of town, and the costume that I wore was a pict.
A what?
A pict.
A pict. You mean
so I show up at this party.
Like Pink Floyd?
Yeah, okay.
No, a PICT, pict.
Yeah, like the ancient Brits.
So I showed up naked. Except
okay, that
for,
I don't want to see. That we don't want to see.
Except for tiny blue briefs. And entirely covered. I had my body covered in blue body paint.
That's sweet.
So basically, you're either a pick or a smurf.
Exactly. But the funny thing was trying to ride home.
Oh no.
So I'm on this motorcycle, and at that time I was riding a KZ 1000.
Oh,
and
beautiful!
I remember I was going about 110, maybe 120.
Yep.
I'm going down this highway, and I go between two semis that are in lanes next to each other.
Right.
And I realize I can fit in between these two, even though they're right next to each other. There's not a lane.
Lane splitting.
But when you go in between two semis like that at 120, you hit a disturbance of atmosphere that is hard to compensate against.
That's funny when you say it, then you do it. Shit.
Yeah. So I was pretty harsh on that little bike.
Yeah, I had a KZ 550 as one of my courier mounts way back in the day. I love the KZs. They were beautiful bikes.
Mm. Yeah. I'm just going to interject real quick here because I should have said it earlier, but welcome to the chat, Bible Belt Atheist.
Hey.
Zach. That's you, Zach. Zach, that's you.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah, you look like he's frozen.
I think he's frozen.
I think he's stunned.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at everybody's icons. There's a number of people that are just sitting still. I can't tell if they're frozen. Insects are delicious. Okay, yeah.
I mean, if you prepare them right, yeah, why not?
Okay. Delicious too. I've eaten insects.
Adriana, you officially have to change your name to Insects Are Delicious now.
I had a friend show up. It was covered in tattoos and had a pink mohawk. And he helped me make vindaloo. I wanted to make an authentic Indian vindaloo, but we didn't want to use the regular shrimp recipe. So I went to a pet store and I bought dozens and dozens of crickets.
Ooh.
And I actually sat there and disjointed it because I've eaten crickets before, but I made
they're actually good.
I made this rice dish with whole crickets because I didn't want to bother cleaning them all. And somebody asked my son, it was during a charity telethon, somebody asked my son, what do they taste like? And he says, it tastes like chicken, sharp, pointy chicken.
Okay, I have to be back.
Imagine there's like a nice crunch to them.
They do if you don't clean them. And there's surprisingly little meat. When you pull the front end off and you pull the legs off, there's just cricket bones. And it takes a hell of a lot of crickets to make a single serving. But we made this.
Oh, hell yeah.
We made this insanely hot vindaloo. It was so crazy spicy. It didn't matter what the meat item was. You weren't going to taste it.
Do you have log?
I love it.
If you have any log,
I love it.
What it was that you rent? Were it one of those curries that you rent rather than? Is that one of those curries that you rent rather than have?
It goes right through you, brother.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that again. I'm going to the UK. 2 weeks from today, I'll be in.
That's right.
I think 2 weeks from today, I'll be in Scotland.
Nice.
Well, if you wanted a decent curry, come to my neck of woods, Bradford.
Bradford.
It's the curry capital of the UK.
Really? If you want to come to completely the other end of the country, that'd be great. Yeah.
I need to tempt him in somehow. I mean, you have to give it away.
The nice thing is although I initially intended for my trip to the UK to be a working vacation, none of the things that I've tried to schedule have actually panned out.
Oh.
So it looks like I've got 2 weeks in London with some variability in what I can do and where I can go.
Can you go find Sargon and smack him one?
Right?
Problems. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back there, BBA. You're in now.
All right, thanks. What happened on your end?
You froze up.
You froze, buddy.
You're frozen for about 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, you look like a dazed deer in headlights.
Well, that's what happens when you're in the presence of Aron.
True enough.
Oh, okay, so sorry. I have to move. But Amy, I think Aron mentioned something about eating insects.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've eaten grasshoppers, crickets, and I've actually eaten live mealworms.
Nice. Me too. I've eaten all those.
I won't even eat lettuce.
I don't like
Two-thirds of the planet eats insects, people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
if we don't adapt to that, we're going to be in real trouble soon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's my insect collection right there.
As a badger, I would like to advocate that yes, insects are great.
As a badger. Now, if you look, Aron, in the background there on Adriana's picture there, she's got her insect torture device that we always
Hey, I'm innocent. I want her to fly.
Nail them to styrofoam, though.
I remember somebody brought me a box of scorpions, and I know this is going to sound a little strange, but they brought me a box of scorpions, and I wasn't able to keep them alive very long for whatever reason. And I was like 14 or something like that, so that's my excuse. But I decided that the best thing to do would be to preserve them, so I'm just going to put a pin through them and I'll stick them to my wall. And I remember sticking a pin through one of them and finding out that it wasn't quite dead.
Did it stick a pin through you as well?
Fortunately, the way that I was holding it, its tail wrapped around my thumb, but couldn't actually connect to anything. Oh, that's fortunate.
You mentioned with there not being much meat on them. I think it was crickets you said, wasn't it?
It was crickets. Yeah, there's surprisingly little meat on those.
I had the same problem eating lobster because we thought we'd get lobster when I was in where was I? I was in France with Dad. We thought we'd get lobster, but we were a bit cheap, so we decided not to go to like a fancy French restaurant where they would cook us lobster. We decided to go to a supermarket and buy lobster to, and cook it ourselves. And we got lobster in a tube.
Lobster in a tube?
Yeah, now the problem with this lobster in a tube is we were expecting it to be like a tube of lobster meat, but no, it was actually a tube with a lobster in it.
Oh, is it kind of like the bank teller looking thing?
So we pulled these two lobsters out because we bought 2 tubes, and we pulled them out and just kind of looked at them like, oh, well, this is awkward. So we cooked the lobsters, then realized that we couldn't get into the lobsters. Fortunately, I brought a multi-tool with a pair of pliers on it. So we eventually managed to kind of prise them open and realized that the legs had nothing but a little string in the middle.
Good old Leatherman.
And there was a little bit of meat in the tail. We had to supplement the lobster with tuna because otherwise there would have only been barely enough lobster for one person.
I gotta tell you guys.
Lobster?
I know that we started with this conversation, but I have to tell you that although Neil missed it, Neil didn't show up in time for this. I talked to the people when they were showing up for the Faithless Forum to meet me at a restaurant that was very special that's here in my town, where they boil snow crab, which is huge. I don't know if you've ever had snow crab, but they're huge legs. So you get a lot of meat. You get a lot of meat out of those.
What are they called?
Snow crab.
Snow crabs. They come from up where I live.
Yeah, so the snow crabs have great big long legs, and they have a good deal of meat in them, and even in the claws and everything. And the way that they cook them at this place is a Vietnamese Cajun fusion place. So they make this sauce that is Vietnamese spices, Cajun spices, and ghost pepper.
Oh, now you're just rubbing it in.
Ouch.
Intended.
And I'm pretty sure crack cocaine because they would keep coming out. The waiter would keep coming out and say, "Would you like another couple of pounds?" And I'm like, "Yes, please." It's like
bring me every crab leg you have in the house.
You can't stop eating it.
Speaking of putting cocaine in food, I've heard that Coca-Cola wants to put cannabis into their drinks here in certain product in Canada.
They want to have it Oreos too. They won't put cannabis in Oreos.
Huh.
They don't put cannabis
fine with
in
that.
Oreos. Come on. It'd be great, but they don't. I got a friend that makes cannabis cookies, but and they're fantastic. And you can't even taste it with the marijuana. But
I've got
many questions, but go ahead.
Are they just trying to cut out the middleman? You get stoned and have the munchies at the same time.
Exactly.
That's funny.
That's exactly what edibles are all about.
So if you season Doritos with marijuana, do you create a positive feedback loop?
I don't know, but we should experiment with this.
Friends of mine
I'm game.
Oh, that's tasty.
Oh,
yeah.
Aron, have you tried the not? I think it's some form of Dorito. I'm not sure if it's an actual Dorito, but they have the ultra hot, the ghost pepper Dorito, where you only get one in the bag.
I have to confess, I've tried to eat Doritos, and I just can't get into the flavor.
I know, I'm not a big fan, but this one is apparently the hottest chip in the world. And I watched a buddy of mine eat one on camera, and he just about died eating this thing. So.
Yeah, with stuff like that, you need to have a roll of toilet roll already in the fridge, waiting for the next morning.
That or a log of
Never tried that.
I've heard.
Yeah, Neil and I went to a place in Deep Ellum here in Dallas that serves noodles that are so insanely hot. I mean, really, they're so fucking hot. They are indigestible. So as I said on the show that he just hosted a little bit ago, I did nothing for the next 2 days but lose weight. I
didn't know I
in a very direct way.
Hey, Aron, thanks a lot for coming on Neil's show. It's great to chat with you and hear your deconversion story. If you're ever coming back up to Canada, you're always welcome here.
Thank you so much.
I've already told him I'd be his chauffeur, so it's good.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You got a crap vehicle, man.
I'm gonna file out here in a minute so somebody else can join. But go ahead, Aron.
Thanks, Randolph.
I was just going to mention that when I first went to Canada, I think I went to INR 3, Imagine No Religion 3, and it was held in Kamloops. Nice. And there was a local brewery in Kamloops that made a porter that was being sold at the hotel at that time, which I thought was great. They were having a hotel full of atheists, and the best beer we could get on tap was a locally brewed porter called Backhand of God.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
I think it's still available, just so you know. I looked it up earlier, and I think it's still available.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
So next time you're up here, we'll go visit my buddy Don, who is also known as another freaking atheist. He lives in Kamloops, and we'll go and hang out with him and drink lots of that shit, and we'll get shit-faced. Should be a lot of fun.
Sounds like a good time. Hey, thanks a lot. Good night, guys.
Good night. Thanks, Randolph.
I'm actually about
by the way,
to cycle out and let someone else come in. But if I make it to the Arc Park protests, I definitely need to have a beer with Aron.
Absolutely, you do.
Protest.
Thanks.
Protest for me. It's on the wrong continent.
You got enough going on there.
Yeah,
they invented something called
airplane. Badger.
I'm perfectly willing to let them keep it, though. We don't want that crap.
That is true. Yeah.
It's
all right.
The Netherlands already has one of their own. I think 2, in fact.
Yes.
Yeah, but the Netherlands is about to be flooded.
It's not seaworthy, so we won't be able to get over here.
Yeah. Well, they have one that floats, and I thought I saw a news story sometime in the last year that they were floating that ark that they built, and it crashed into something else because they had no way of steering or stopping it.
Oh dear.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
which amazes me. That why would you turn something like that loose?
You could say the same about Ken Ham, though. Although I've got to say, I think today is the only time I've ever heard Aron say Kent Hovind's name without the numbers attached.
Is that debate over?
Yeah, he wouldn't. He did responses to the first 4 of my 7-part reply, and the last 3 parts of my 7-part reply were where the meat was. So that was where he conveniently stopped, knowing he couldn't go any further.
So
and it's frustrating to me that I found out today that he is going to be within 100 miles of my house on the 19th of this month. Unfortunately, I'll be in Scotland on that night.
You're saying that out of the entire cricket of your video series, he only ate the legs?
No, I ate the butts.
No, he ate the legs.
He only ate the legs because he didn't get to the videos with the meat in them.
Gotcha. Yes, correct.
By the way,
we're about to be joined by an Aussie. So you got to give him a break. He's upside down and shit. So
no, it's a massive show. Australia doesn't exist.
I apologize in advance. My analogies don't make sense until I explain them.
There you go.
Nothing you say makes sense till you explain it.
Where are you at, bad-tempered badger?
I am one of these British types, don't you know?
Yeah, but where?
I'm somewhat of a southern Brit. I don't want to get into the specifics too closely, but
Sussex?
David Cameron's his neighbour.
This way, I'm rather familiar with Dartmoor.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Okay. Because I'm going over there in a couple of weeks. I'm taking my daughter with me, and one of the things that we want to see, although I've been there before, I love the Crystal Palace Park where they have the old dinosaurs that were created by Sir Richard Owen.
Oh yes.
And I'm actually
really cool.
considering taking her to Downhouse again. That's in Kent, isn't it?
Yes.
I think you might be right there.
Or is it Essex?
Should go
somewhere.
Yeah, it was a great thrill for me to be wandering around Darwin's house and have tea and scones in his back porch.
Too much information.
Aron, somebody has a question for you. Are your roots in Mormonism? And I don't think they are, but
I have a great deal of genealogy that does include a lot of the big names in the Mormon formation. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Was it?
Yeah.
Were it your mother or your grandmother that was Mormon?
My mother, primarily.
Mm.
Yeah, she's the only one that I know of in the family for certain that wears the magic underwear.
There you go, Reese. Question
Oh,
answered.
damn.
I know I caught his question at the end of the original interview, so I didn't get a chance to ask it.
Magic underwear.
All right, I've sent 2 more links out to people.
Hey.
I'm wearing magic underwear. What do you think? There's Notcha.
Oh, there goes the neighborhood.
There's my upside down brother. And I sent one to I sent one to
Very nice of him to pre-flip his image so that it's the right way up for everyone else.
I've seen that icon before.
Oh, I'm sure you have. Not just pretty well known in the community.
Okay.
He does.
Get around.
Also, I should mention, Nacha and myself are part of a channel called LEA, which stands for League of Extraordinary Humanist Atheists, or
Atheists for
something.
humanists.
Sure.
Atheists for humanism.
So I can't spell.
So at least a couple of you are immortal.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we have a couple superheroes.
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Yes.
Sure.
All right. I've been wanting to say this for a while. I just have to give a personal thank you to Aron, because you were actually one of the main people that helped me out of Catholicism, and out of religion, like organized religion entirely. So I just wanted to say a big thank you for that and getting me to where I am today.
Much appreciated. Do you mind if I ask how?
YouTube, mainly your videos.
Okay.
I can't remember which ones because it was a few years ago, but it was definitely your YouTube videos.
I appreciate that very much. I don't get a lot of messages like this, but I've gotten enough every year that it's certainly enough to keep me going.
Dude,
yeah,
absolutely. When I interviewed him, that's one of the things he mentioned to me was your videos are one of the things that helped him over the edge of that. So
yeah,
and it meant a lot to him.
Thank you very much.
You also pushed my friend to not be a creationist anymore, so that was dope. Because I was arguing back and forth, and he goes, evolution's bullshit. And I was like, no, it's not. And he goes, have you heard of Kent Hovind? Yes, I have. What are you about to say? Well, Dr. Kent. I was like, no. Stop saying doctor. And then I ended up sending him the debate when you had with him on Non Sequitur, and he goes, well, he interrupted him a lot. I was like, he was wrong all the time. You have to interrupt students. It wasn't a debate. It was a conversation. It was pretty funny.
I've been asked by a few people to do even though I'm not an evolutionary biologist, I'm just a measly chemist. But I've been asked by a few people to do a debate about evolution versus creationism. And I'm like, there is no fucking debate. What are you talking about?
Oh, it's 1902. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, even 1902 there were no debate.
I'm really tickled that I started pleading for a sponsorship or funding for the Phylogeny Explorer project in 2011, and as of a matter of just a couple of 3 weeks ago, it has become real.
Ooh.
I mean, it's been real for months, but it hasn't been available to the public. And there is that I can't share to a lot of people at once because the database can't handle thousands of people showing up at once. So that's a little quirk that we're trying to work out of the database, so that it'll be able to route people to different servers in a proper fashion so that it can continue to operate. But nonetheless, it exists.
It's a real life accessible thing now.
Yeah, it still doesn't have all the encyclopedic information that I want it to have, but realistically, it won't ever have all of that. And as of several months ago, I remember the last tally was that we had something on the order of about 45,000 taxa that were in the system, and this is all with volunteers working part-time. And we're hoping to ramp that up once there's some internal stuff that we have to improve to get our performance up, and then we'll be able to improve exponentially. But things I can't really get into because they are in the internal workings of it. But it's real. It was a dream that became a reality, and it's there, and people can look at it and navigate it. And I'm excited about that.
That's absolutely outstanding. I've been quite interested to see that, so I'll try to go at a time when I'm not going to crash the server.
Yes, hit me up privately. I'll show you the link. As long as I don't make a big announcement about it, but it should be fine.
I'm gonna have to bail pretty soon, but I do have one question.
What's that?
What?
8:46, Chris.
Nah, yeah, I got other things I have to take care of. Some of us have lives.
I don't.
It's one of those.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Whatever happened with your debate thing with S.J. Thompson? I mean, I've been banned from here now. I picked her off. Whatever happened with that?
She got all uppity wanting to have a challenge with me about there was a couple of things she wanted to debate. One of them was pointless.
Well, that's S.J. Thompson.
Yeah, one of them was one of those was where neither one of us is going to be able to prove our point. So there was no reason to have that debate. But then there was the other one. She called me out as a chicken or some such thing.
I saw that.
That I wouldn't debate whether she had objective morality. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're on. We'll definitely do that one. And I said, okay, she made that challenge right after I had just announced that I'm not going to be doing any more internet debates. I'm not going to be just like debating people on, like on a podcast or something for free.
Mm-hmm.
That if I'm going to have to invest in all the preparation and everything, that I'm going to have to get paid for it. So I'll do a live debate. Her and I will be on stage somewhere. And so I told her, and she made that challenge right after I said that. And I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll do it in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You find the venue. I'll give you 60% of the ticket profits. I'll take 40%, and we'll debate that you don't have objective morality. That if either of us do, it's me, but that you don't have it. If nobody has it, you don't have it. If anybody has it, I have it. You don't. You lose either way.
I don't know how many times on Twitter, because I haven't been able to get to her live, but on Twitter, and also on one of my few videos. One of these days, I'll get back to that. But I've gone over that subjective, objective morality thing with her so many times, and yet she keeps coming back with it over and over with it. We ought. No, we don't have to ought. There's no ought. It's just, we live. Do
you ever catch yourself explaining the same thing to the same person?
You want to see the dents of my bloody desk? Am I going to smack my head in? Jesus! This is my work. This is my workspace for both. For my living and for this stuff.
And so what I like is when I argue with these people and that they want to score a point, and I say, well, no, that's absolutely not true. Let me prove that to you. And then they never admit the thing that they just said is wrong. And instead they've changed the subject and list it as a second proof against me. No, you don't have a first one. We need to clarify that first. You don't get to call number 2 when you never had a number 1.
Yeah.
But it never happened. You never get admission from these people.
Yeah. Now that she's banned me, I have no idea what's going on, and I kind of miss her because she was when I wanted to do a quick and easy cheap ass video. She was perfect source material. I just that tweet's good. I'll do that one. No, I don't have that anymore.
I can send you the screen caps if you need them.
Yeah, but I can't reply to her. She won't listen. I mean,
she's gonna learn anyway.
I mean, we were actually talking on Twitter direct messages when she said something about the guy who died and going to heaven or hell, whatever.
Yup.
And I was actually having a very good, had a pretty good conversation with her. I said, look, you really stepped in your pecker here, or in your tits. You really, if you want to have any, you built a lot of, trying to be building a lot of. Points with the community, and you're generally well accepted, but you screwed up here. Why don't you just go out and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I fucked up. I apologize." But she came out with a half-ass, semi apology, and I think, God, what a cunt.
No, that's not politically correct.
True. Cunts have death and they're warm. She doesn't have any of that.
Shit. Is anyone, Chris, you said you were going to dump.
Yeah, I got bail right now. I got to go. I got some things I have to take care of. Aaron, it's been a pleasure talking with you. And man, when you come up here, my old offer for, you want to ride my bike and have a beer stands.
What do you have?
I got a Triumph Trophy, 98 Trophy 1200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They started making Triumphs for grown-ups.
And it's in proper British racing green.
Okay.
Oh, look at this guy. All right, Chris. We got to go for sushi again, brother, real soon. So
yeah, I was going to say, I promise you, I guess, because you give me that, I guess I have to pay that next time, don't I?
It's
if you ever go, no, I paid last time.
Oh, that's true.
If you ever go up with sushi with this jackass, you'll never get any tempura. You'll fucking keep it. All right.
Yeah.
Gotta go, Gate people. It's fun. Hopefully, we'll talk to you all later.
Hey, David. By the way, welcome. And Chris, thanks for jumping in, brother.
Yeah, no
worries.
And
I've sent Objectively Dan a link if he wants to jump in, because he's trying to get you to come on his Truth Wanted show, Aron.
Okay. I'm going to have to bail here shortly.
Yeah, I'm about to bail.
Oh, yeah, that's true, because it's almost 11 for you. But here's Dan. He can come in and ask you personally. Hey, Dan, buddy, what's happening?
Hey,
oh my God.
How's it going?
You look familiar.
Yeah, a long time no see, huh?
Yeah, what's
It was
going on?
so cool meeting you in person, dude, by the way, and giving you that great big fucking hug that I've been trying to give you, or wanting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was really just.
I like how you have your camera way down low so that nobody is surprised when they meet you.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
Because
I
don't know. The rest of you should know that this guy is enormous.
Yeah, he is. He's taller than me.
Do they not make tripods big enough?
No, it's true. You get the illusion that I'm a lot shorter because I'm always sitting down on my show, so you never get to see me standing up and walking around and stuff. But
yeah, Dan's a mutant, guys. Just so you know, he's one of the only people in the world that I have to look up to.
Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing when they did the Faithless Forum group photo, and I'm standing next to him.
Yeah, you're right next to me in that picture. It's great. I thought for a second
Aaron's not exactly shot himself.
Yeah, you brought a chair over at one point, or a cooler, and I thought you were gonna stand on it for the picture because you didn't like that I was taller than you.
I'm sure that.
I hear the festivities are still going on down there now.
Well, I think
all the Brits are still there.
They're still there right now. They're ramping things up. A lot of them are heading out within the next couple days. So
yeah,
but we got our last minute hurrah.
Like Rachel and Steven, they were all shooting guns at the gun range today.
Yeah, I know.
That's crazy.
The first time any of them have shot guns. So.
Even Rachel will go out to a gun range, but she wouldn't come to the crab station with me.
Yeah, she said she couldn't help but notice the feeling of power when you're holding a gun. And I'm like, yeah, I know all about that feeling.
Yeah. Well, we're guys,
Yeah. Exactly.
I was just going to say, I would absolutely love to have you come on my absolutely minuscule YouTube channel at some point. It's absolutely minuscule, so feel free to sort of look at it and go,
no worries. I'd be happy to.
No, I mean, he even went on David's channel. Oh, sorry, David.
The other thing I was going to say was
quite all right.
The other thing I was going to say was I managed to have a successful discussion with SJ a little while ago.
You had a successful discussion.
Well, I had a discussion.
Okay.
It was successful in that it happened. But yeah, it went all right. It was about.
I'm waiting for SJ to call into my show.
Yeah, right?
She's been in your live chat a few times, Dan.
Yeah, I know. I want her to call in so I could finally talk to her. But you know what I found out? Did you guys know Greg Kokel has a call-in show as well?
What?
No.
Yeah, apparently it's one that goes live on Tuesdays. And so Pine Creek was messaging me today. He was like, you should call in and talk about it because he wrote that thing about me. And he's like, you should call in and talk about that with him. I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that. So
that'd be a good idea, man. I'd check it out.
Yeah, shoot me an email. That sounds like something I'd like to accidentally call into.
Oh, great. That'd be great. We should double team.
And Aron, you got a co-host with Dan. Okay,
that's right.
And I'll call in just to annoy the hell out of you guys.
Well, Dan's got to invite me. I'm not gonna.
I think it's official.
Well, for sure. We just got to schedule it out. I have so many people now after the conference. It's like, we got to be on and stuff. It's like, okay, we got to schedule everybody. It's like, I'm trying to. So Bionic Dance should be coming on this.
Oh hell week. Yeah!
Oh
really
good.
And
someone linked me to this.
Should have been up on that panel.
Yeah, she should have. I didn't know she was coming to the conference until like a week or two before it happened, and somebody told me. I was like, whoa! So.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys should have had her up there. You didn't have as Aron was saying earlier when we were chatting, you didn't have a U.S. representative of the women. You had like everywhere else except for the U.S. And she would have broke that. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And her channel is at least as old as mine.
Yeah,
it's 10 years plus. She deserves way more attention than she's getting.
For sure.
By the way, guys,
at the minute she got like 25k subs or something. Is it 40?
Yeah, she should be. She should be 10 times that amount.
Oh, easy.
With her content and her animation that she does, she should be 10 times that amount. Any of you watching that aren't subscribed to Bionic Dance, go fucking do that right now, or you're never allowed to come into another one of my fucking shows ever again.
I would subscribe to Bionic Dance, but I can't because I've been subscribed for years.
There you go.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I just subscribed.
That's good.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure she's been making content since I was like in middle school. If I'm doing the math right.
She's been making content since I was in diapers, pretty much.
Yeah.
I am going to have to bail shortly.
Yeah,
so.
It's okay, man. I'm going to bring this to a close anyways. And I know there's going to be angry people that wanted to jump in that couldn't, but I'm getting a little tired as it's close to 10 here, and I've been running on 3 hours sleep a night since being in Texas. So and that's your fucking fault.
I can't seem to catch up to my projects. I'm always behind.
If there's anyone else, drop in. If there's a few more minutes, I've got to drop out because it is now 5 a.m. here, and I should really go to sleep.
Yeah, you and Pine Snake are fucking troopers for this one. Anyways, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Don't worry about it.
Oh, and David too. Sorry, I forgot you joined me, David. Sorry, you can owe me a punch in the face the next time I'm over in England. All right.
Yeah.
So you pour that first Guinness on my head. All right. There you go. Anyways, thanks guys for tuning in, and we'll be back again on Monday. And let me just make sure I find out who I'm talking to on Monday, which will be Blue Collar Heathen, who was going to join us, but he ended up on a 911 call because he's a paramedic. He'll be joining me at about 4 p.m. Pacific time, so make sure you tune in for that because there should be a lot of interesting stories that I'm sure he'll be able to tell us about his job and stuff. Anyways, thanks everyone, and thanks again, Aron, for coming in. It was an absolute pleasure to hang out with you tonight. And thank all you guys for jumping in here tonight and being civil about it, unlike my usual like in the hangouts. And Dads, sorry you didn't get a lot of time on here, but I think mission accomplished as you talked to Aron about coming on Truth Wanted. So
yeah, no problem.
One of these days, I want a second shot. One of these days when I get better internet.
Yes, so. We'll make that happen too. All
right, man. All right, everybody, remember what I always say at the end of these wonderful gatherings that the Christopher Hitchens always said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge, and we'll see you guys next